My name's Savannah Ray, and I'm here with Nick, who's better known as his stage name of Dreamtheory.
So I was living in my car for maybe about a month or two, and whenever I first got here, the first idea I had was to join a band because I was in like five separate bands by the time I left Texas or whatever, which kind of sucks because I left every single one of those bands without even telling them like one day, and then like where the fuck is Nick at? So but that's kind of all I knew before I left, and so I was like, maybe now that I'm here, I'll just go find a band and like, figure something out. And I brought my drum set with me, like from Texas, like hauled it in my SUV over here. And so I went and found like some random band on Craigslist or whatever, because that's just how you usually do it, like back then, I guess. So so I found some band. They wanted to interview me, or like, how would you call it, do an audition, that kind of stuff. And so I auditioned for the band, but at that audition, the bass guitar player's coworker, her name is Laura, brought herself and her daughter named Savannah to go watch that audition, because Savannah played guitar, and Laura just kind of wanted her to like go watch and get the experience and see what that's like if she ever wanted to do that in the future. So they were there, they saw me audition, that kind of stuff, and they came up to me afterwards. They're like, "Hey, you did so great, man. I really like how you played, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh, thanks, appreciate it." And so we swapped numbers, that sort of stuff. And so I got in the band, and then later on, we were like, "Hey, we don't have a practice space. Like, what do we do to go practice?" And so the bass player called up Laura again, asking like, "Hey, can we go to your place because we don't have a space, to practice tonight?" And she's like, "Yeah, come over. It doesn't matter. Just go on my porch, blah, blah, blah." So we practiced there at her porch. And afterwards, after we're all done and stuff like that, Laura came up to me and she was like, "Hey, we're making burgers for dinner. Do you want to stay with it, hang out, stuff like that?" And I was like a little, like, not really suspicious at first, but I was like, random people that I never met before. She seemed super nice. So I was like, yeah, like I'll go in, why not, whatever. I could definitely use hamburgers, because I had been eating like fucking like trail mix and like peanut butter and jelly out of a can for a while, because like, and I had like no money. So I decided to go in, and we just like hung out and had dinner. It was super nice. It was just, I forget if Richard was there. Richard was or is Laura's husband, and so it's Richard, Laura, and Savannah in that house. And so it might have just been Laura and Savannah, and they had a pool table, so we were playing pool and having fun, stuff like that. And so eventually we got down to their living room, and Laura started like asking me some questions like, "Oh, so where are you living at? Like, what's your living situation?" That kind of stuff. And I was like, "Oh shit." Like, I gotta tell her that I'm like freaking homeless and shit. I could have lied and been like, I'm living, I don't know, somewhere out in Hermitage with my family or whatever. But something in me was like, no, I should just tell her like what's up or whatever. And so I told her like that I had just moved here and didn't tell anybody, and I kind of just ran away from home, and I'm living in my car, that sort of stuff. And I told her the whole story, and she like sat there in her recliner for like a solid like minute. She didn't say anything, and then she was like, "So when are you moving into our RV that's outside?" And I was like, "Oh shit, yes." And so she had an RV that was outside, and she let me sleep there for a couple weeks before she was like, "All right, so obviously you're not a serial killer, so that's good. We have a spare bedroom in our house. Like, you can come in and just stay with us until you get back on your feet," that kind of stuff. And I stayed with them for like 2 or 3 years after that. Like, I became part of their family.
That's awesome.
Which is crazy to think that like that kind of shit doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just randomly leave home. Like, I don't know anybody here in Nashville and then meet these people. So it was pretty weird. And so they just let me in their house and be part of their family while I was like trying to figure out like music production, that sort of stuff. And I was able to like get all that under control or whatever. And figure out what I wanted to do and that kind of stuff. That time period was really where I was like, all right, being in a band is cool and stuff like that, and I
Mm-hmm.
love to do that. I love to play drums in like a band and be part of something bigger, whatever. But something in me was like, I want to do this like for myself and just like be my own thing and do my own stuff. And so that's where I really got into music production and stuff like that. So thank God I was able to do that with, in a household that I could, I had time to do that. You know what I mean? Instead of just having to worry about like, how the hell am I going to get money to get food or whatever, So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so that was great. And then a couple of years later, I decided to go and get my own place with some roommates and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there it is. Yeah, my life story. Yeah.
I'm glad you told that. That's really neat to know. Like that definitely shapes who you are as an artist and a person.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your family. Do you have any brothers and sisters? And did your family support your choice to be a musician?
Yeah, so I have what is just four of us, so mom, dad, and me and a brother. And my parents are like, of course, like they would love for me to be a lawyer, like get a good job, get some benefits and stuff like that. Every parent wants that for their kid, but my mom finally understood after a little bit that like, all right, this is really what Nick wants to do. And so your parents, like, I guess most of all, they just like want you to be happy, you know what I mean? And so she became super supportive of it, and I freaking love her for that. Both my parents are really supportive of it. They still every now and then they're like, Nick, are you sure you don't want to like do some like certificate online and get like a good job with some benefits? Like, yeah, mom, maybe, I don't know, but I think they understand that like this is like a lifelong thing. Like I'm going to be chasing this dream of mine for as long as I'm alive, and that's just how it's going to be. So but yeah, they understand that, and they're super supportive, which like thank God. There's some people that I meet that just like they just hate that their kid is like trying to do some crazy stuff and like trying to go after a pipe dream or whatever. So but yeah, I got some cool parents. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your childhood for a second. What's your fondest memory from your childhood, or the most crazy and exciting memory that you have?
Damn. There's a couple. One's not music related. It has to do. I was playing soccer. I had to have been like 7 years old or something like that, like really young. And my mom put me on a random soccer team, and I remember being a goalie. I don't know why, but I love being the goalie on the soccer team. And the ball like headed towards me, and I decided to kick it like as hard as I fucking can. And so I kicked the shit out of it, and it went all the way into the other goal on like the opposite side of the thing or whatever. I was like freaking out because everybody was like running towards the ball to like try and stop it, but they like couldn't catch it. Like the coolest shit ever. The other one was like, I'm not so fond of it, but it was really like a formative experience or whatever. My mom had me do piano lessons. I was probably a bit younger than that soccer thing. It was probably like 5 or something like that. But I had to play freaking Wheels on the Bus in front of like a crowd of like parents and stuff like that. And I was like morbidly like scared. I was freaking out the whole time. But so I played it, and I got back to my mom, and I was freaking out. I was like almost crying and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, that was crazy. Like, I don't know, but I look back on it now and I was like, damn, that was probably one of the experiences that made me think, damn, maybe I want to like perform or like do stuff as a musician or whatever. So, so I don't know. You live and you learn.
Yep. So the next question, you kind of already answered quite a bit of it, but let's see if you have anything to add. But just talking about your past and what brought you to this point in your life, and any life-defining moments or people that kind of impacted you to become who you are today.
Yeah. Well, I did. Back to my mom again. In 6th grade, I wanted to be part of like the school band or whatever. And I wanted to play clarinet because that was like basically the only instrument that I knew, because Squidward played it on SpongeBob. Or that's like literally, I was like, oh, I want to play clarinet like Squidward or whatever.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, no, you should try out for percussion, where they like hit drums and stuff like that. And she was like, I think you'd like that more. And I was like, no, mom, I don't really want to do that. And so I auditioned for it, and they wanted me as part of the percussion section.
Yeah.
And so all throughout middle school, high school, I did percussion, and that was like my thing. Like I freaking love to do that. So that was like if my mom hadn't been like, hey, you should try out for percussion instead. I don't know where. I don't even know if I'd be like doing music right now, because percussion is very. I noticed like half the producers that I know right now, they all play drums. I have no idea why that is, but we just gravitate towards music production for some reason. But yeah, that's probably one of the more formative, events that happened that made me want to be a producer and like pursue music and that kind of stuff. Because I ended up being in middle school, everyone thought that like, damn, like Nick's pretty good or whatever. Let's see what he does, that kind of stuff. And so I kept going with that momentum, and then started to, do all this other music stuff or whatever. So, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's crazy how just like one moment can just change everything.
Just one thing, man. Yeah.
One little thing. Yeah. Okay, so you say you're originally from Texas, but you're currently living in Nashville. So what was it like growing up in Texas?
It was cool, I guess. It was hot. I don't like that much. Yeah. It's like, it's still kind of hot here in Tennessee, but Texas heat's a little bit different. I just don't like the warm weather. Like I'd much rather be in like, I don't know, Colorado or something like that, where it's a little bit cooler. Actually, like even like too much cold, we've has it been super freaking cold for you recently? You're in Iowa, right?
Yeah, it's been like negative almost every day until just like Wednesday, I think was the first day it hit like 10 degrees, and we were like, hey,
oh no, negative, damn.
Yeah.
No, I think Texas, because my mom had been messaging me and she said that like, oh, we're at 0 degrees or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out because that just does not happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's like too cold, you know what I mean? Like I would love to live somewhere where it's like, it doesn't matter what season it is, it just feels like fine. Like you're just chilling no matter what. But yeah, no, Texas was really hot, but I don't know, it was cool. There was a lot of people that kept trying to get Texas to secede or whatever, which I had no idea why, but I mean, like, whatever, I guess. But, and there's a lot of big pickup trucks, but I mean,
I
don't know, it was all right, I liked it.
Yeah. Are there any cool local spots either in Texas or in Nashville? I know you mentioned, what was it? A Cobra.
The Cobra, yeah. Yeah. I'd say the Cobra here in Nashville, there's honestly not too many spots in New Braunfels that I wasn't even into electronic music whenever I was in New Braunfels back where I lived in Texas. But recently it hyped me the fuck up because somebody did I don't know if it was Company or I don't know who it was, but they did a show in my hometown at a drive-in movie theater, and and it never clicked to me that they would have done something there, not only in New Braunfels, but like at the drive-in theater, like, because the whole COVID stuff or whatever. And I was like freaking out because that's like, damn, that's like 15 minutes from where I lived or whatever. So that's cool. I think it was like Stars and Stripes Drive-In or something like that. Yeah, maybe they'll be doing more if COVID like keeps going on or whatever. They do a drive-in show or some shit. But yeah, other than that, I can't really. Oh, I mean, here in Nashville, there used to be some shows at a place called The Back Corner, but they haven't been doing. I mean, even pre-COVID, they kind of like did some weird stuff where they raised the bar minimum, so like some DJs couldn't go and play there because like the bar minimums were like you would have to be Drake in order to like meet the bar minimum, that kind of stuff. So I don't know what's going on there. But if they start doing stuff again, that would be a cool venue to go play at and like go watch stuff. So yeah.